we could get started, right?
Can I go live on this one?
No, we can't.
Okay.
So it's only on Facebook and YouTube that we're live here. So hello to all Facebook and YouTube people. So just to get you guys started, today we're going to be talking about the 5 study abroad tips you need to know before leaving. So we did prepare a slide deck for you guys to get you started and to just have a guideline for you guys. So let's go to the slides. Okay, so this is what we said. So 5 study abroad tips you need to know before leaving with me and Tristina. So let's go to the first slide. So this is the live stream agenda, what we're going to talk about. So we're just going to be having a brief introduction on who we are and what we do. And so basically that. And we're going to walk through the 5 tips that we mentioned. So tip number 1 would be about passport and visa. Tip 2, student health insurance, which is really important. Tip 3, country and culture. Tip 4, visit a doctor. And tip 5, housing. So stay tuned because at the very end, it's also really important that you could also ask questions. And we have an expert, a special guest expert who could answer all the questions about, we'll tell you later about what. Okay, so first off, who are we? So I could introduce myself first. I'm Jessica. I studied in the Netherlands for 4+ years now, and I come from Thailand. How about you?
Hi guys, I am Christina. I come from Bulgaria and I've been in the Netherlands for 2 years now, and I am very enjoying my stay here and looking forward to many more years here. So if you guys want to be international students wherever, you will need to know these 5 tips, and we will start first of all with stuff that most international people need when they go abroad, which is passport and a visa. First of all, passports and visas can be applied everywhere, but everywhere is different about how to apply, where to apply. So we need to do some little research about how and where to do it. Also, if you're an European Union citizen, it's not mandatory to bring your passport everywhere with you, and you also don't need a visa because you're traveling with just your ID. But for safety purposes and reasons, bring your passport, guys, with you, because there might be a case if you lose your ID, it's very expensive to get out a new one in Europe than in your own country. So you have to have a second choice, which is your passport. So don't forget to always bring a second option, the passport, with you. Also on study portals, on Masters Portal, I think.
Yeah, Masters
Yeah,
Portal.
on Masters Portal, we have a visa section where you can help yourself with the research while searching for the requirements for the visa you need for whatever country. Let it be Netherlands, Germany. If you're out of Europe, it's going to be easier for you guys if you visit the visa section for your research.
Yeah. So we will be briefly going through our ultimate country guide. So I will be sharing my screen on how you could potentially access this information. So if we go to, what's this? Oops, sorry. Let's see. So if I want to go to Masters Portal, so first off, we would have to go to Masters Portal. Is it on Masters Portal? Yep. So this is one of our ultimate country guides for the United States, one of the top destinations. And once you scroll down, as you could see, you could see all the information which is necessary to study there. For instance, why study, choosing a university, tuition fees, can I study for free, which is also a really popular question that most students have. And as you could see here, there is a student visa section. So you could specify your nationality. So as you can see here, it says if you're from South Africa, but you could also change your nationality. As we could see here, we have a lot of people from various nationalities, so you could specify your nationalities. Let's say if you're Nigerian, for instance, then it will also update according to your demographics, which is really useful for international students if you want to know which type of student visa you may need. And let's say you went to Master's Portal and you want to find these ultimate country guides. So you would have to scroll down here, and then there would be this section which says discover other countries. So you could go to view all countries, and you could see the list of countries where we have all the ultimate country guides for. So let's say we want to see some information about Germany. So this will be for Germany. And we also have the same set of information, which is also here, student visa. So you could see, okay, this is visa type B. If you're from Nigeria, you would need a visa type B, and all these information, the visa duration up to 3 years, and also the visa fee, and yeah. So we have all the information listed here. So I believe that there should be a link in the live stream section where you could access the one of our ultimate country guides, so you could try and test this out later on after this live stream. So yeah, this is a useful tip for you guys.
And it's important to know that to visit the Ultimate Country Guides, it's also free for use. So whoever wants to use it, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So that is one tip already that is really useful for international students.
Yes.
So let's go to the next slide.
Next off, to be an international student abroad, you must have a reliable health insurance. First of all, it is important to say that having a reliable health insurance is very important because everything can happen while you're abroad. You can get in an accident or something. So don't risk it. Don't take risks when it comes to your health. You might think that to have health insurance abroad is expensive, but the healthcare system here is even more expensive. So it's better to pay 100 or over 100 euros for health insurance than 200, not 200, 2000 K for an ambulance if need be. So with that being said, we will introduce you guys to Aon, which is global leading, no worries, which is global leading professional services providing health insurance, student health insurance. And with that, we are going to invite our special guest for today, which is Bjorn de Graaf, who is Aon expert, who is also going, guys, to talk more about the Aon insurance, and we're going to ask him a couple of questions which might be useful for you. Yeah.
Okay, so welcome, Bjorn.
Hi, thank you. Good morning or
Good
good
morning.
day, wherever you are in the world.
Yes. So yeah, so we prepared some questions, the most frequently asked questions from students for you to answer. So that would be useful. And also, of course, if the students have questions, you could also write them down in the comments, and Bjorn could, of course, answer these questions. So let's start with the first question. Why do students need an insurance?
Yeah, good question. Thank you for asking that. Student insurance is important for many reasons and can sometimes be very practical as you need it for applying for a visa or maybe your university requires certain coverages. But in general, it's the most important thing for yourself as a student because, as you already mentioned before, you can face certain situations that you didn't anticipate on. And all of a sudden you're faced with a giant bill, medical bill, or somebody holds you liable for a certain damage that has been caused. And even though you think that it's probably not going to happen to you and you're very safe and secure and making sure that nothing happens, it can happen to you. And at that moment, it's very useful to have an insurance. In the end, the best insurance is one that you will never use, but please make sure to have one in case something does happen.
Yes. Thank you. The second question, frequently asked question, is what could happen to me when I am studying abroad?
Yeah, there's many things that can happen as an international student. Hopefully, situations that you will never face. But it can be more or less medical related. Suppose you end up in a hospital, you had an accident, you became very ill, or you just need to see a general practitioner or a family doctor because I don't know, you have an itch or something else. For those types of situations, medical coverage is really important, but it's not just health. There can be multiple situations, like suppose you go to a friend's house and you trip on the carpet and you knocked over the TV by accident. Now the TV is damaged, and they kind of want you to pay for it because you broke it.
Yeah.
And those are the situations that can also be covered. Maybe to give another example, suppose you're abroad, everything is great fun, you're doing well in your studies, but something happens to a relative that's really close to you at home. Can happen. You have to fly back. Maybe you have to make some hotel expense or something else. And also in those cases, an insurance can provide coverage for that. So you're not all of a sudden faced with a expensive flight ticket.
Okay, that's really nice to know. Yeah.
We also have some other questions which are in the slides as well. For example, what does student insurance cover?
Yeah, the at least the student insurance we provide at Aon, but in general, insurance provide, or at least should provide, for international students is a series of multiple coverages. Our product is focused to make sure that all types of, I can't say all, but most situations that can happen to you as an international student will be covered. As I said, it can be more or less medical related. That includes any urgent dental treatment. Suppose you have a toothache and you need to go to a dentist. But also, sometimes you can get in situations where you don't directly know how to act. Suppose that example I just gave with a flight back home. How are you going to arrange to be flying back tonight or tomorrow morning? Or if you wind up in a hospital, you don't know how it works with, who's going to pay the bill, how's that going to be arranged? For those situations, we also provide coverage for emergency assistance. So there's like a hotline that's 24/7 available that you can contact in those types of situations where you're not sure what to do. It also includes coverage for personal items, so that are items that can be in your home. Suppose there's a fire or there's a lightning strike, and because that the laundry machine got broken or something else that happened. But it can also be while traveling, because of course, if you're an international student, it's fun to be in the country where you're studying, but maybe you want to go on a city trip or visit some family back home during the summer, or just go on vacation with friends, and then you want to be covered as well. And during that time, there's also coverage for luggage. So suppose, I don't know, you're taking beautiful pictures in a nice square and somebody steals your phone or camera, then that's also covered by the insurance. Other than that, we also provide coverage for some legal aid. Suppose you get arrested and you weren't the one that did it, then you need a lawyer as well. So those types of costs are also covered. And as the example I gave for, that's called liability. It's a bit of a difficult word maybe, but that means like that example with when you're tripping on the carpet and you knocked over the TV. But you can also imagine if you're, I don't know, you're cycling through the city and all of a sudden you're in an accident with a car, the car is damaged, then you're also liable for that. And that's covered by this insurance as well. So there's many examples I can give more, but I think it kind of summarizes the broad variety of things that can happen, and that we, at least at Aon, we already thought about all the situations that can happen and are all entangled in one insurance.
Yeah, this was very nice to know because accidents can happen to everyone. So it's really nice to know what can our insurance cover, to know that we're insurance from these kind of things to happen to us, which is bringing us to our next question. What assistance do I get in case of an emergency?
Yes, also, as I already just stated before, there can be situations where you're not sure what to do, or you expect like really large bills. I don't know, you had an accident and you were rushed off by an ambulance, and now you're in the hospital all of a sudden. Then at that moment, it's good to have emergency assistance, because there's going to be people in the back arranging that the bill's going to be sorted, that the hospital is going to be paid, so they can focus on treating yourself. You can focus on getting better. But also, if you're not sure where to go, suppose you get really sick and you don't know which hospital to go or which doctor to go, then you can also call the assistance company to make sure what the healthcare providers are in your area, because they will know who are available. They can also help you if you expect a large bill. So suppose you need to visit a specialist in the hospital, it's usually a bit more expensive. Then they can already set up the payment agreement with the healthcare provider. And in that way, you don't have all the hassle of dealing with the bill yourself. And also in the case of repatriation, the flight I just mentioned before, if you have to fly back home because something happens to a close relative, then they can also arrange with setting up the flight. Yeah, so that's what the assistance company does. Yeah.
Okay, I have a quick question regarding my side. Is there a difference between the claim or assistance?
Yeah, in our insurance, we do provide assistance, and that's usually for the more expensive things. But at the same time, you can also claim costs within insurance, and that's usually for the, I would say, smaller, relatively smaller bills. So suppose you have to visit a general practitioner, or you have some lab expenses or some medication that's being prescribed by the doctor. Then that's usually are, not always, but usually they are smaller bills, and in those cases you can just pay them yourself and claim them back later on our website.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, then this leads us to the next question is how do we do a claim? How to claim?
Yeah, we try to make that as easy as possible, and usually you can just file it online. On our website, there's just one button that says "File a Claim." It already directs you to the claim form. Um, when you make a claim, there's usually some questions that are being asked because, of course, as an insurer, you need to know like what happened exactly, and we also have to check if there's actually cover for those types of situations. Um, so because of that, there's going to be some questions asked, and maybe you have to upload certain files as well. You can imagine if you have a medical bill, you'll upload a copy of that. But if your luggage is stolen, then you can also upload the damage of the luggage or a police report, things like that. And on our website, it's quite easily, it's all online, and yeah, it's kind of straightforward actually. It's not too difficult.
Okay, that's good to know for students.
Yes.
So the next thing, maybe we will be walking through like how to apply for an Aon student insurance, because we know from your website you have this Aon insurance advice and quote, which maybe you could briefly explain like what is the purpose of this feature for students, and then we will then walk them through how they could potentially use this.
Sure. Yeah, the whole idea or the feature of this part of our website is to actually apply for insurance. And where it starts off is more or less like finding out about your situation. Which country are you from? Where are you going to? How long are you staying? What type of international student are you? Because you can be an exchange student, but you can also do a full degree abroad.
Yeah.
There's also PhD candidates going abroad as well. So with that information, our website determines what the suitable product is for your situation. That already keeps in mind like which country are you going to? Does your university have certain requirements you have to meet? And in that way, you get the right advice from our website directly. And after that, you can just continue with applying for the insurance. And also here, we try to make it as easy as possible. At least we try to make sure that, you know, we understand you're a student. I assume that you maybe never before applied for an insurance or a financial product. So it can be a bit difficult, and it's all in English as well. So we try to keep it very simple and accessible and affordable as well.
Okay, that's an important
Yeah,
part.
which is good
Affordable.
because some of the students, like me, for example, like to overlook certain things. And if there's a lot of text or a lot of information, I'm just going to click through and through and through. So it's better if it's simple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, so we could maybe just walk through on how the students could potentially use this feature. And the link to this page will be pasted in the comment section, so you guys could go and try this out for yourself and also see what type of student insurance you might need if you're considering studying abroad. So this is an example of one which has been filled by us. So you here say, what is your home country, what is the country of destination, and your start and end date. And as Bjorn mentioned, you could specify your situation. So in most cases, our viewers would be an international student. So this would be suitable. And yeah, you could specify your educational institution. And here you could also even specify do you currently have a health insurance. So once you press insurance and advice quote, you should be receiving an advice. Oh, we could change this one because it has already been made. So advice. So this is how an advice would look like for you. So it specifies the type of insurance, what it covers, and how much it costs. And Bjorn, like if we would like to apply for this insurance, do we just have to click request insurance, or is there any other procedures?
No, correct. It's all straight through. So at the moment you get started, you indeed fill out some information. You will get the quote as you see right now, and
Yes.
then you just click on request insurance, and then you fill out personal details and everything that's needed for the insurance. I think it's only 5 steps altogether,
Yeah.
so it's quite straightforward, and yeah,
Yeah.
you can just indeed continue right away from that point on.
Okay. And just like that, you get an insurance. That's, yeah, really easy and nice, which is cool.
And fast.
Yes, that's most important.
It looks like.
Yes. So the next slide, maybe the questions. So yeah, maybe you could just specify like how the students could potentially contact Aon if they have additional questions, for instance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, we understand that this can be first time to apply for such a thing. That it's maybe you have some questions, or it's you got stuck in a certain question we ask in the application process. I don't know. Can be anything, or maybe just a question about coverage or certain situation you have. We always try to be as accessible as possible. So we're not trying to keep away your phone numbers or put the chatbot in front of it. You always speak to people with us. So our phone number is accessible. Within the chat, you'll get directly a colleague, and also via email, we answer fairly quickly. So if you have any questions, you're always welcome with us to ask any questions about insurance. And for the assistance part, that's important to mention. Then there's 24/7. There's always accessibility, and you can always call them, even during holidays or even New Year's Eve at 12. There will still be someone picking up the phone. So for everybody celebrating the New Year's, there's still someone working, making sure to be able for you to answer any questions in case of an emergency.
Very convenient.
Yes, thank you so much, Bjorn. So we will be going to the next tip, but for the viewers who are still here, Bjorn will still be within our live stream. So if you guys have any further questions about student insurance, feel free to drop them down in the comments. And at the end, we will be having a Q&A session, so those questions will be answered. Once again, thank you so much, Bjorn, for this talk.
Nice to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go to tip 3.
Which is get to know the country that you're going to, because it is very important to know in advance if you're going to like your experience there or not. Of course, there is not a guarantee that you will love it or don't, even if you do additional research before you go, but it's still nice to know where you're going and what you're going to face. For example, you can do basic research like local laws there and etiquette, what people like, or just the culture of the local people. What can you expect? Are they going to be more direct nation or more indirect? If the other countries find them more rude than the others, or if more polite even.
Yeah.
Determine the average cost of living. This thing is very important because this way you can save yourself a lot of money beforehand to see how much cost you're going to pay for groceries monthly, or for rent, tuition fees and everything. So do your costs in advance, because it's going to be better for your wallets. Also, as we already showed you with Jessica in the beginning of the live stream, we offer the ultimate country guide study guides.
Yeah,
country guide, study guide.
ultimate country guides.
Yeah, country guides in Masters portal. So this will be a big help during your research when you need to know all these stuff about the country, not just the necessities like visas and passports, but also the more general things like cultural laws and etiquette.
Yes.
And with this here, we created a short example as well as in the beginning. For example, in Germany, we found out that people like to be more punctual. This is some list of some of their favorite foods there. Or in the USA, how much will it cost monthly to live right? To live like in bigger cities like New York or Boston, and average cost of food per month, for example. All of this information you can find on the Ultimate Country Guide. So visit it. It's going to come in handy.
Yes. And it's free, most
And
important.
it's free.
That is the important part. Yeah. So tip number 4 is a tip that most people would not look into or not
Overlook
consider.
it,
Yeah,
yes.
overlook it. So visit a doctor. Before you depart from your country of origin, it's really important to get a health checkup and understand any prevalent diseases or illnesses which needs vaccines, because for different destinations there are different requirements in terms of health requirements. So
Yeah.
it would be nice to look into this and be prepared, because at times you could potentially be rejected from those countries if you don't have a specific vaccine during the immigration or the passport control.
Yeah.
So keep this in mind. And also another thing is bring a prescription of a doctor. This would come in really handy, especially when you go abroad and you have a already defined prescription that you could give right away to your new GP, general practitioner, from your new country. So this is also something which is really important and overlooked. And tip number 5, secure a housing. This
Last
is
but not least.
Yes, last but not least, secure a housing. This is one of the most biggest problems international students have, is housing. Some people could even go homeless. So we would advise maybe to find a place 6 months in advance or something.
Yeah, start searching for accommodation really far before your departure, because in the Netherlands it's a really big problem, the housing. So if you don't want to be from the people sleeping in tents outside your campus university, start searching in advance for accommodation. Jessica is going to tell you a couple of tips about the securing housing.
Yes, so the first tip is to determine the type of housing. There are various forms of housing. So there is a studio, which is basically like a place to yourself,
Yeah.
but it's all in one room. So you have all the facilities, such as kitchen, toilet, to yourself. And then there is a student house, which is the most preferable for international students because, of course, it's cheap. So it's more cheaper than a studio or an apartment. So this is an option you could also opt for, but keep in mind, yeah.
But you're living with roommates.
Yes, how many on average? Like
Minimum of 3.
yes, minimum of 3 and maximum of up to.
I know people living with 8 roommates, so that's one big house. So
Yeah.
it can vary in the house and the landlord that you land upon, but it's the cheapest option, so it's probably the most convenient for everybody.
Yeah. And as Christina also mentioned, the price varies a lot per city. So if you're staying in one of the bigger cities, of course, the cost will be extremely higher and also harder to find. So keep that in mind. But also smaller cities are also quite hard, because nowadays there are also a lot of international students like dispersed throughout the
Yeah.
country. So yeah.
And mostly in Western Europe, the transportation between cities like trains, buses, and everything works really fine, even though somewhere might be more expensive than other places, but still it's very nice to know that you can travel everywhere with trains or even by bikes. If you're in the Netherlands, you can basically go distances with a bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another topic.
Yeah. Okay, yes. And then the last tip for the secure housing is join Facebook groups. There are a lot of housing groups from Facebook which you could join, and this comes in really useful and really handy. So start searching for those Facebook groups. You could even just specify the city that you're interested in and then say housing. And of course, there will already be a lot of groups on Facebook for those. So join those, because those are in a way reliable to an extent, but you also have to be keep in mind for the scams, because there are
Yes.
also a lot of fraud. Okay.
You have to have an eye for scammers because that's also not a thing you're gonna want to be in.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to the Q&A time. So we're gonna be seeing now if we have any questions, and we will be inviting Bjorn back again. So do we have any questions that are interesting to answer?
We have a question regarding the airline expert. So we have a question for Bjorn here. Is COVID vaccination still checked?
Sorry, once again,
If you know,
what was the question again?
Is the sound?
can you hear us okay?
Yeah, you
Okay.
don't hear me?
Yes, now we hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear the question very well.
The question is COVID vaccination still checked? If you know.
If covered vaccinations are still
Yeah.
checked. The insurance doesn't cover vaccinations that you need. So vaccinations are not covered by the insurance. So if you need to get them in advance, then you have to pay for that yourself, unfortunately.
Okay. Then another question that we have is, do I visit the doctor before or when I arrive at my destination? Because this is also regarding student insurance in a way.
Mhm.
Because to have a GP in the Netherlands, at least you must have an insurance. So do you know? Do I visit the doctor before or when I arrive at my destination?
Is that question maybe more related to the vaccinations as well, like the tip you just mentioned to visit the doctor? That advice for vaccinations? Because usually you just visit the doctor when you start to become ill or sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, for example, some people just do regular checkups. I'm not really a doctor girly, so I don't really go to hospitals and doctors, so I don't know how it's proceeded. But if you go to the doctor, do you need to again have something to do with your insurance?
Well, of course, you need insurance to go to a doctor. Otherwise, you have to pay for the bill yourself.
Even for the regular checkup, if you're not sick or something, if you need to go to the hospital, even if you need a regular checkup.
If you need, if you, for example, have minor complaints and you want to go to a general practitioner, you still need insurance for that, because otherwise you have to pay for that visit to the general practitioner yourself. So yeah, you should arrange the insurance in advance of your visit. So and with in advance for your visit, I mean before you depart on your international student, or at least upon your arrival, because you never know when you need to visit the doctor.
Okay, thank
And
you.
insurance doesn't work the other way around. So it's not first visiting a doctor and then getting it claimed by applying an insurance, but insurance in advance.
Yeah, makes sense. So probably because we also kind of mentioned it in our presentation slides, you must visit a doctor in your home country before you depart, just to know that everything's okay. Then make an insurance again before in advance before you leave, so you don't take any risks. And then after, if you need some doctor or anything, your insurance is most probably going to be covering that. So everything is fine.
Oh, yeah, we got a question here as well. Is this insurance offered only to international students? So do
Yes.
you offer insurances for international students, or are there any other types of insurance maybe?
At this moment, we only offer it to international students, and the whole reason of that is that usually students who are living in their own country, so to say, or studying in their own country, they can use the insurances that are available locally within the country. And usually, when you switch to another country, you can directly either enroll in insurance there, or it's in the local language, and that's really difficult as well. So we only provide it for international students.
Okay, nice to know. And we received a question for our side. So is there any known official agencies for renting? Well, I think it depends on the country.
And also on the city where you live as well, because in every city there are different agencies. So if you search your city by name in Google and then housing agencies, you will most probably see the most reliable ones that are available in the city. But just have in mind that they're having big commissions, and you have to pay a lot for them to find housing for you, and it's not even mandatory and said that they're going to be to find you a room or a house or a studio or an apartment. So you might be paying for nothing. So again, in my opinion, my humble opinion as a student in the Netherlands, I prefer the Facebook groups and searching just for from a friend to a friend or something like this. I don't rely really on agencies because it's more expensive and it's not the most reliable that there is on the markets.
Okay. Let's see if there are other questions. If you guys have any further questions about insurance or studying abroad, feel free to drop them
Yes.
down because our live stream is already surpassing the scheduled time. So we're already over by 5 minutes. So yes, let's see if there are other questions. We'll just answer the last few questions and then we will end this live stream. So ask the questions now. Yep. So we'll just wait for around one minute. If there are no more questions, then we will be ending this live stream.
We have a question how to apply for a small local scholarships in Europe. We also have a lot of scholarships provided on our portals. So if you go to bachelor's portal or master's portal and search for your desired university or even country where you want to study, you can click search and then you will see all the programs. You will see also scholarships for this country available.
We could show.
Yeah, we can show our screen real quick.
Briefly show. So we'll just briefly show, just to end this live stream, the scholarship feature that we have.
Click on master's portal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just type where to study, for example, Germany again, and you have, as you see, programs, universities, scholarships. So you can first search for programs that you want. If you find something that suits you, you can go to scholarships. And here are listed a lot of scholarships that, again, have different requirements, different documents wanted. So you can go through them and see which one is suitable for you, which one can you apply for, because again it's different for all nationalities. You have an overview of the scholarship, you have eligibility requirements, you have steps of the application process. So again, in bachelor's and master's portal there are features which are really useful for students. You can visit them, guys, to search for the ultimate study guide, for visa requirements, for scholarships requirements and questions. Everything's there.
Yes. Okay, then we would like to thank you guys for watching this live stream.
We would also like to thank Bjorn for his
Yes.
time and for his answers to our questions. It was really helpful for us, for the students watching. Again, thank you for your participation.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye bye, guys.